Hello, good morning. It's a new week, a new talking point, new business day and trading hour. My name is Blyden Kim and it's Business 360 on Spectrum TV. In today's edition of Business 360, we'll begin to look at outlooks regarding economic data for this week. We'll talk about the possibilities for gold prices as gold prices move higher and higher every day. Well, amid the difficulties regarding the Silicon Valley, there's a new buyer for Silicon Valley Bank. Let's begin with global economic outlook for this week. The turmoil that has hit the banking sector will continue to take investors' attention. In the US, Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Michael S. Barr will testify before the Senate and House this week. Also, consumer income and spending, the PCE price index, and the final reading of the fourth quarter GDP growth will be released. Elsewhere, the Euro area, Germany, France, and Spain will publish inflation rate figures. Finally, this week, Info Business Climate and GfK Consumer Confidence will take the spotlight in Germany, as well as inflation and key interest rates in Africa. The assets and loans of collapsed U.S. lender Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, are being bought by rival First Citizens bank shares. The failure of SVB earlier this month triggered fears about the stability of other lenders, sparking sharp falls in bank shares around the world. Markets have remained nervous, although bank shares opened higher today. SVB was seized by U.S. regulators earlier this month after a run on the bank, and its collapse was swiftly followed by the failure of another U.S. bank, Signature Bank. The demise of the two were the biggest bank failures in the U.S. since the financial crisis of 2008. But as a new buyer, the First Citizens Bankshare Bank. Looking at African perspective. Since President Xi Jinping's visit to Tanzania 10 years ago, China's investment in Tanzania has hit $1.8 billion. This was announced during a conference commemorating President Xi Jinping's visit to Tanzania. China's direct investment stock in Tanzania is 2.5 times that of 2012. Chinese investment has had a significant influence on the nation in terms of trade investment, job creation, relationships, according to Executive Director of Tanzania Investment Center, TIC, Mr. Gilly Terry. He said, for the past 10 years, China has registered 1,908 projects worth $1.6 billion in the mainland and 15 projects in Zanzibar worth $220 million, he said. Good relationship between China and Tanzania, the Eastern African nation. Still in East Africa, Kenya has been ranked the top country in Africa for expats to settle, overtaking South Africa in the latest Expert Essential Index by Internations. The ranking was based on factors such as housing, language, which is the use of English, digital life, and local administration, with Kenya scoring well in language and housing. Despite the advantages, many experts report difficulties with local bureaucracy, which can be a significant challenge. The ranking is expected to boost Kenya's attractiveness as a destination for companies seeking to enter the African market. In addition, the country's rising development of high-end residential units targeting high net worth individuals is expected to continue to fuel its position as a hub for the East African region and a prime investment ground for multinationals. Good news in Kenya and to Ghana. Ghana has declared intention to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in order to strengthen commercial ties with Kenya. Trade barriers between the nations of East and West Africa have historically been low because of regulatory restrictions. In 2021, Kenyan exports to Ghana stood at $10.3 million, and according to reports, the West African state will establish an export trade house in Kenya as part of the measures to promote trade relations between the two countries. Ghana will organize a 3-day business expedition before the trade fair to highlight the goods it plans to import into Kenya. And that's the outlook from an African point of view, back home in Nigeria. International airfares on Nigerian routes have gone up further by over 20% after foreign airline raised the exchange rate for ticket sales from 462 naira per dollar to 551 naira per dollar, according to reports. International travelers on Nigerian routes have been paying higher airfares after carriers blocked their inventory of cheaper tickets in order to cushion the effects of the rising amount of trap funds. The latest increase in naira-dollar exchange rates for ticket sale by the International Air Transport Association, the Switzerland-based trade association of the world's airline, is expected to worsen the plight of Nigeria travelers who are already paying higher airfares. As of January this year, foreign airlines flying into Nigeria had about $743 million in trap funds in Nigeria. The International Air Transport Association has said Nigeria has the highest amount of foreign airlines trap funds globally, and it's quite concerning. Still looking at the businesses in the country, Unilever Nigeria PLC will discontinue the production of Omo, Sunlight and Lux as the company reviews its business model. The manufacturer says it will exit 2 categories, home care and skin cleansing, which will affect the aforementioned brands. The outlook of these, according to reports, the exit from these 2 markets could lead to Unilever Nigeria selling the home care and skin cleansing business segments. It will also make Unilever Nigeria competitive and profitable in the country's market, according to the firm. But the firm's managing director, Carl Cruz, said all companies need to adapt to changing market circumstances, and now is the right time for Unilever Nigeria PLC to reposition to better meet the needs of customers, shareholders, and employees. It will be a good time to go through global economy, looking at the economic calendar and expected data releases for today, Monday, March 27, 2023. Profits earned by China's industrial firm slumped by 22.9% year-on-year to China's 887.2 billion Chinese yuan in the first 2 months of 2023, as factory activity struggled to recover from the slump caused by pandemic disruption. Let's have a quick look of this information on the calendar. The economic global calendar this morning has indicated some positivity and negativity on the other hand, looking at business confidence in Switzerland and Canada as well as the Euro area zone. At around 9 a.m. this morning in the Euro area, loans to households year-on-year, according to February report, indicates a drop to 3.2% from 3.6% previously. But the key data outlook this morning would be the 9 a.m. Info Business Climate, which came out in Germany. Previously, business climate in Germany, the index stood at 91.9 points. But the forecast in the market had indicated it would drop to 90.7. But the latest outcome has shown improvement in the business climate in Germany to 93.3 points. Let's look at further details regarding German business climate that is at the highest level in 1 year. The Info Business Climate indicator for Germany increased to 93.3 in March 2023, the highest since February of 2022, from 91.1 in the previous month, and beating market forecast of 91. Confidence among businesses rose for a 5th consecutive month, despite the recent banking turmoil, high prices, and borrowing costs. Meanwhile, Info economists noted that a winter recession has become more unlikely. It would be a good time to look at the charts indicating Germany Info Business Climate Index. Let's have a look at the progression within the charts showing the info business in Germany. It has been concerning from a German point of view that it's been upward in one direction and slowing down on the other direction. But a good thing is there have been improvements in the business climate in in Germany in recent times. In April 2022, the index stood at 92 points. It went further upward to 93.1 and dropped a bit to 92.4 by July. It came crashing to 88.9 and further downward as at October 2022 to 84.7, indicating a slowdown in the business in Germany. But it went further upward by January this year, 2023, to 90.2 and even improved as at February, hitting 93.3, indicating improvements in Germany in terms of their businesses and the business climate and economy. Let's look at the top 10 African countries with the most transparent GDP data. It is easy to see why most of the successful governments are also some of the most transparent according to Economic Outlook. The information they make available to the public helps procure solutions for national and socio-economic issues. On these issues, the most prevalent lies with issues facing government funds and budget, which in turn is subject to how much revenue the country is generating, and that's why we'll be looking at the GDP. World Economics, a data platform that augments official usable data with regular quarterly surveys, has developed the Global GDP Data Quality Rating for March 2023. But we'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll get to X-ray the top 10 African countries with the most transparent GDP data in Africa. Don't get away. Welcome back. It's Business 360. My name is Blyden Ukem. We'll be looking at the top 10 African countries with the most transparent GDP data. Not often that people get to understand that countries sometimes might not come out with accurate data. But only 2 African countries had grades higher than a C, Algeria and Mauritius, which would have a B. Let's have a look at the top 10 African countries with the most transparency or transparent GDP data, if you might like to call it so. At number 1 is Mauritius with B, having a data index in terms of their GDP accuracy 6.2. Also, Algeria at number 2 at 77.4, Rwanda number 3 has a C 76.6, Morocco number 4 with a C 76.1, South Africa amongst global analyses of GDP accuracy. For Botswana, CLC 74.5, number 6, 7 Benin, 8 Malawi, number 9 Cabo Verde, or you can call it in English Cape Verde, number 10 Namibia, got a C 72.2. Nigeria is in the top 10 in terms of accuracy regarding that GDP outcome and data. Let's move to the commodities. Gold investors may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of missing out, FOMO, as prices approach and test the $2,000 an ounce level. After seeing its best gain in 3 years last week, gold is sticking to these higher trading levels, and experts are looking at a run to record highs. Regarding gold prices and how high it's getting, let's have insights from Anna Golubova, market reporter at Kitco. Anna.
Banking turmoil could have the same impact on the economy as an additional rate hike or 2. Due to tighter credit conditions, markets are now pricing in a pause by the Federal Reserve and potential rate cuts this year. And number 2. For the first time since the invasion of Ukraine, Russia reveals its updated gold reserve numbers. In the past year, Russia purchased an additional 1 million ounces of gold, which is about 31 tons. And now the country holds more than 2,100 tons of gold in reserves. Russia also continues to move towards the Chinese yuan and away from the US dollar. The Russian leader says that he supports using the Chinese yuan for the trade settlements between Russia, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. This statement comes as the Chinese leader visited Moscow this week. And coming in at number 1. Gold seems to be Wall Street's favorite trade right now, as new buyers push prices higher. And because of the uncertainty surrounding the depth and reach of the banking crisis, markets remain worried and analysts see a lot more upside for gold. Experts tell Kitco they see gold settling at the $2,000 level and soon making a run to record highs. But many don't see the rally ending there, according to Wells Fargo.
That's the outlook from Anna. Let's move to the market, the metal market, and see the prices of other metals, price of copper, steel, gold itself, and silver in the morning market, the metal market. The market this morning has shown some slight decline. Gold has dropped away from the 2,000 mark Anna was talking about, and 18-point decline this morning. Gold price currently is $1,958 per ounce, dropping by negative 0.96 percentage points. For silver, it's slightly downward this morning. Copper also slightly downward this morning. For steel price, steel had gained this morning 20 points. Current price 4,105 Chinese yuan per ton, a 0.49 percentage appreciation. For iron ore, it's a little here, little there. Lithium is downward by 8,000 points, a negative 2.89 percentage points. Current price is 268,500 Chinese yuan per ton. Let's also have a look at agricultural markets. The price of soybeans and the rest of the agricultural commodities. We're looking at price of soybeans and also talking about wheat and the rest of the markets. Let's look at it. The morning market has shown some declines for soybeans and wheat, but some positivity for lumber, palm oil, and cheese. Soybeans this morning, current price $1,426 per bushel, downward by 2.25 points. For wheat, $682 per bushel, downward by 5.56 points. And lumber, $418 per 1,000 board feet. But palm oil is still struggling after dropping away from the 4,000 mark. It's been consistent decline for palm oil, but this morning is moving up to 58 points. Current price 3,570 Malaysian ringgit per ton. And that's the outlook in the agricultural market. The energy market then, let's see what's happening with the energies. Crude oil, US crude, Brent crude oil this morning. Well, it's been a mixed fortune for most of the commodities, and the energy market isn't an exception. Crude oil doing slightly fairly this morning. Current price $69.6 per barrel after dropping away from the 70-point mark. For Brent crude is moved up a bit to 75-point mark, $75 per barrel. Natural gas slightly dropping this morning, but a negative 5.07 percentage decline, but a high decline in the market. Gasoline slightly downward, heating oil a little here, a little there, and coal, similar story, dropping by 1.3 points. It would be a good time to look at foreign exchange perspective, but we begin with a question regarding mining in Texas. The question is, can Texas in the US become the Bitcoin mining capital? Cryptocurrency bankruptcies and worries over electric power consumption have failed to dent the industry's growth in Texas, which is seeing a huge rise in demand from miners. Well, further conversation would be after this report from Reuters depicting the state of Bitcoin mining in Texas.
West Texas can be very low, sometimes negative. And because, 80 to 90% of the input into a crypto mining operation is electricity, the cheaper that electricity is, the more attractive it can be.
Texas's renewable energy sources like wind power is also inviting for miners. New York has already banned crypto mining that runs on fossil fuel power. Alongside the obvious climate concerns, for Liz Moran from environmental nonprofit Earth Justice, the crypto industry also fails to deliver on employment.
What's happening in a number of communities where these mining operations are coming in is they're promising a lot of jobs, but they're not delivering on a lot of jobs. So we absolutely need to be helping communities that have been economically struggling, getting more jobs, and we think the green energy sector is the way to go for that.
Other states are expected to follow New York's lead, and that's narrowing the field for industry leaders like Matt Prusak, CCO of the US Bitcoin Corp.
Environmentalists have many concerns around the environmental and the energy impact of Bitcoin mining. That's one of the reasons why US Bitcoin Corp, we've really
That's an outlook regarding Bitcoin mining in Texas. Around the world, it's assumed that, or said, not assumed, it's said that Bitcoin demands a lot of energy, saps a lot of energy, and the safety of it in terms of its mining has been a concern around the world. But not to dwell on the matter, let's look at cryptocurrency prices in the market this morning. The price of Bitcoin, Ether, and the rest this morning. Crypto this morning has shown some positivity after Bitcoin had hit the 29,000 mark. It dropped over the weekend, but it's back up, gaining by 100, and market is moving fast, gaining by 150 points this morning, a 0.57% gain. For Ether, current price 1,764, gaining just 3 points this morning. But good to know Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are moving. Binance is slightly downward, Cardano slightly downward, Solana slightly downward, Ripple a little here, little here. But the gains and the volatility has not been much in the market. Let's also dollar. The euro against the US dollar. The euro against the US dollar this morning has shown some gain slightly, but it's still lingering around the 1.07 mark. For the pounds against the US dollar, as 1.22 US dollar equaling £1, moving one step higher than Friday's outlook in the market. A gain of 0.0023 points this morning, not huge. For Aussie against the US dollar is a slight gain. I think we're back at that point in the market where the market is neither going upward or downward. It's slowing down. Let's look at Naira's perspective against these majors. Naira against the US dollar, the pound, and the rest. The Naira's market has been quite difficult in recent times, especially for most of these majors, because the gain has not been fascinating. It's been a back and forth from 600 and 460 and back to 459 at that steady progression. Current price 460 Naira equaling $1 at the international and exchange window. For the euro against the Naira, the euro fell by 4.8 points against the Naira at the close of Friday's market. Current price 493 Naira equaling €1. And for the pounds is a similar story. It dropped by 3.4 against the Naira, meaning Naira gained against the pound. 561 Naira equaling £1. Let's look at the parallel market then to see Naira's performance in the parallel market against the majors. At buying rates, dollar to Naira, 745 Naira equaling $1. Dollar at selling rates, 739 Naira equaling $1. Pounds to Naira, buying rate 923 Naira equaling £1 on the average, and 906 Naira at selling rates equaling £1. For euro to Naira is 789 Naira equaling €1 at the buying rate, and on the average at the selling rate 775 Naira equaling €1. Good time to look at the stock market as we approach the close of this session, beginning with Asian stocks. Asian equity markets were mixed on Monday. Today, amid pressure and by lingering anxiety over the recent banking turmoils and escalating risks of a US recession. Meanwhile, IMF head Kristalina Georgieva said over the weekend that China is showing signs of robust economic recovery. Shares in Australia and Japan advanced, while those in South Korea, Hong Kong, and mainland China declined this morning. Let's have a look at that chart to see what happened. The Asian chart and the Asian market stocks. Well, according to the outlook of this market this morning, there have been some declines for some of the markets. Japanese 225. Current price was 27,477 All-Share Index level, upward by 92 points this morning, but for Chinese Shanghai at 3,251 index level, downward this morning by 14. The CSI still in Chinese, downward by 15 points, and Shanghai 50 also downward by 14. China 50 downward by 63 points, and Sensex going higher this morning by 434 points. Well, it's been mixed fortune for the Asian markets. And we draw the curtain in today's edition of Business 360 My name is Blyden Kim. Thank you for watching.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian. From issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
Security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by gross level. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in course examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Legally Speaking.